Prince, you arrived. I was hoping that it wasn't too much trouble for you to get here. I picked this room because of its proximity to the kitchens, but I honestly didn't realize how deep it was into the castle's hidden chambers. Which, I suppose, is a good thing, in one way or another, don't you think? It means that the guards are less likely to venture all the way back here, even if they did start patrolling those secret halls. Though, I do hate to force you to do more work, my young prince. Here, take a seat. I spent a lot of the day cleaning this room up and making it more presentable. After all, we can't expect you to be learning magic when you're stuck in an uncomfortable space. I dusted all the furniture and cleaned the floor and walls. For the most part. Trust me, Your Majesty, it's a lot better than it used to be. Now, come along. I have some treats and such set up to the side over here, and I even managed to put together a little schedule planner of sorts. I was thinking maybe today we could start off by learning the basics of magic, like what kinds there are, and the different sorts of energy it takes before... Young Prince, please try not to set the room on fire. Or, or my hair. Yes, I'm well aware that the walls are made out of stone, but it's still quite rude to be throwing fireballs willy-nilly like that out of nowhere. I appreciate your excitement and natural abilities. Of course, I think that having the ability to create a fireball like that is something to be celebrated. But what's equally as important, if not more so, in my humble opinion, is knowing how to control said fireball and not, for instance, burn down the whole castle on accident. We're trying to prove that magic can be good and helpful. And setting your father's estate on fire is not exactly the best way to do that. So, if you don't mind, I think we should sit down and start going over the rules of magic. I'm sure you've read up on them a bit in the past, but for now, why don't we go over them again? I mean, we might as well, right? Even if you think you know everything, there might be one or two things that you aren't 100% on, and I can help with those. Not that I'm saying I'm a professional or anything, but I spent a few of my days off doing things exactly like this, sneaking away to places where I can learn about magic. You might have the raw skill, young prince, but I feel like I have the knowledge of how to use it. You and I both know that magic in this world isn't like the storybooks. It's entirely based on feeling, on connecting with the forces you're trying to manipulate. You have to remember, you're not using a tool, more so convincing it to do something for you. That does sound a bit odd, doesn't it? Alright, so, for instance, in the case of this fireball you just casted, the reason it went haywire like that and flew from your hands without a care in the world was because even though you were harnessing the power, you weren't connected to it. You can't just manifest a ball of fire in your hand. You have to be able to convince it to cooperate with you. This can work for many other things as well, such as memories, emotions, spirits, even reality itself. You have the ability to manipulate and control almost anything you wish, if you have the means of convincing it to listen. Magic is never cast for free, my young prince. You're always making some kind of deal. Now, there are many kinds of deals you can make, and you have to think very hard about how you want to appeal to the forces you're trying to utilize. This is another one of the reasons magic is deemed so dangerous, because people rush into it too quickly, mostly without considering the consequences. Alright, now that that's out of the way, next is channeling that power. As you know, everyone has connections to the forces of magic. These are what magic users of the past called anchors, and they're what help those who wish to study and wield these forces do so. Every magic user has 1 to 3 anchors that they focus on. No, I don't mean the kind tied to a ship, my prince. You're just saying these things to get under my skin, aren't you? I swear, you're lucky that I tolerate your sense of humor. Yes, tolerates. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. Now, can we please get back to studying? I can already tell you're getting antsy, and I'd rather you know everything before you try brainwashing the cook into making you a midnight snack. You know that's exactly something you would do. Don't try and fool me, young prince. Now, back to anchors. Anchors are, in a way, similar to their boat-adjacent competitors. They help to stabilize and control magic users and their magic, allowing them to shape it to their will. The kinds of anchors people used in the past ranged from a memory they simply couldn't forget to an emotion they felt too strongly, even to physical items or people that they're bound to. These anchors often need to be focused on and controlled themselves for a magic user to truly thrive. The important thing to remember about anchors is that they are not only maintaining your connection, but they shape it. What anchor you use often defines the kinds of magic you use with it, what the magic will cost, and, perhaps, most importantly, what will happen if something goes wrong. You want an example? Alright then. Okay, say that your anchor is something dear to you. For instance, the feeling of a message that you never responded to. One of grave importance, or perhaps no consequence at all, but you still feel it in your bones. You know every word you would have written, thought about how you would send it 1,000,000 times over, but you never actually followed through. The kind of magic that could affect or relate to this anchor can range, but for this example, we'll use momentum, the ability to control speed and time. You could use this ability to say, freeze an object in motion, or delay explosions, impacts, and even verbal decisions, as if someone was buffering. For a cost, well, it could affect how you react to certain situations, prolonging your responses, causing conversations to trail off awkwardly, making you feel more indecision than usual. The only way to resolve these drawbacks is to actively avoid them, responding to a letter when it matters the most, saying something when it's easier to stay quiet, things like that. What would happen if it went wrong? I suppose an example could be if the caster used their magic while actively avoiding a choice. It could backfire, freezing yourself instead. Or it could cause an ally to become suspended in motion instead of the threat. This sort of ability gives you a clear view on the positives and drawbacks of what sort of anchor you use. In this case, the anchor is incredibly useful in emergencies, but it hinders you when it comes to anything personal or social. Now you can see how easily this power can turn from something amazing into something far less so. What matters is the wielder and their ability to manage both their magic as well as their anchor. Using magic is dangerous, not only for those outside of its control, but for the user itself, which is why learning its basics and how to manage yourself is one of the most important aspects. On to casting the magic itself. That requires resonance, something that should come easy to you based on your earlier display. You have to be feeling the correct emotion for the spell to work, be in the right state of mind, and, depending on the magic, the correct physical stance. If any of these things are off, even by a fraction, it could lead to consequences, causing the magic to twist in ways you hadn't been expecting. For instance, you could be casting a healing spell in the wrong state of mind, leaving scars where there shouldn't have been. Or, if you had cast that fireball while in a mental state of grief and loss, it would have burned cold and black. Illusions cast while afraid could flicker or leave tells. The mastery of magic isn't just your innate ability to wield it, but your ability to remain, yes, in control, as you said. I suppose I've been repeating myself a bit too much, haven't I? But it's important that you learn these things, my prince. If you truly want to bring magic back into the kingdom, if you want to be a man who is respected and looked up to, while holding the power of the universe in your hands, then you need to be able to wield it better than anyone else, or at least make it seem as though you can. Are there any other costs or worries you should be thinking about? With magic, there's always something to worry about, but I feel like you understand the basic concepts now. The biggest thing is, you should be sure not to use the magic too much. Even when you have control, magic is a wild, unpredictable thing, and it was never really meant to be controlled by human hands. Some who used magic too much in the past experienced what magic users today call drift. It's when you slip further away from reality, forgetting things that were important to you, things that made you human. It can even at times change your physical appearance. There are ways to maintain this. Facing your anchor, like I said before, is a wonderful way to steady yourself. But the best way to do so is not to overuse your magic. Only use it when you need to, for what was important. Yes, your father did have many reasons for banning magic. I can see how reading all of this can be a bit overwhelming and look like a lot of doom and gloom. Magic is beautiful, wonderful, and amazing in so many ways. But you have to be careful. Everyone does. Which brings me to my next point, actually. I was thinking, if this is something you want to pursue, even after I told you all that, then maybe we could... I mean, you could erect schools in honor of teaching the younger children the importance of controlling magic. Let's be honest, people are going to learn magic anyway. You and I are doing it right now, even if it's banned. So, if it's going to be out there in the world no matter what, then why don't we at the very least try to teach those learning it how to control it? Minimize the danger rather than trying to completely eradicate it. I would be willing to help in any way that I could. You know that. Right. Sorry. My apologies, young prince. I'm going a million miles ahead when we only just started working on everything today. The this is something I've been thinking about for a long, long time. And I hope that, maybe with a bit of work, the Kingdom of Nighthold will be a place where people feel safe, where they can aspire to learn magic the right way, without fear of all the rules. Anyhow, that's probably enough learning for tonight. You still have dancing lessons in the morning, so you should try and get some sleep. I promise we'll continue with some more practical lessons in the future. But for now, come on, let's get back to your room. I'll help you prepare for bed, and we can continue this tomorrow, okay? Sounds like a deal, my prince. Now, let's be on our way.